Over the weekend, I discussed the impending demise of Cartoon Network, and well, I don't think Warner Discovery is pulling any punches, as we have another round of cancellations. This time, a project I was just talking about in my Rebirth of Cartoon Network video, which I guess we should just throw out the window because I really fear that we might be at the end for this studio. Not to fearmonger whatsoever, it's just that with everything that's been happening and the idea that they might fold into Warner Animation, I just don't know if the bigwigs are going to show any mercy on animation because it is expensive and it is stigmatized. The launch of HBO Max seemed to promise an era where that would begin to change. And granted, beyond HBO Max, we still have shows like Invincible and Arcane that do fight against the animation stigma, but that's a completely different conversation. This morning, numerous crewmates on the project Driftwood, the planned 90-minute movie from Victor Courtwright, have indicated that the project has been canceled, which unfortunately doesn't come as a surprise with everything that's been happening, but it's still heartbreaking and infuriating nonetheless. And that's for a slew of reasons. The biggest one being, in all of these recent cancellations, when these projects aren't even out yet, all of those people are out of jobs. It's not like they were given an end date, like with most studio jobs. It's not like they were able to get another gig lined up for them. No, it's just, hey, your job is gone. This was very sudden. Maybe we can move you to another project at the studio. Good luck. As you can imagine, the lack of job security and an industry where you're hopping from project to project is already terrifying. But imagine how much that messes someone up to pour months, if not years, into a project, only to have said project taken away from you. And your hard work is all for nothing. You're never going to see the finished product. That hard work will never be recognized. And you can't even put it on your portfolio! You know, the thing that shows all the great work you've done, that thing that should probably be updated with your latest work, so future employers are aware of your current level of skill? Welp, a whole team of people can't do that now. Thanks, Warner Discovery. Fantastic. And here we go again. While making this video, of course, another update rolled out, and things got worse. As now Batman Caped Crusader, the Amazing World of Gumball movie, alongside a slew of other movies ranging from Looney Tunes to Urkel, will no longer be moving forward at HBO Max, and instead, they will be shopping these titles around with the goal of selling them off to other streaming services. These projects aren't canceled, at least not yet. They will be continuing production, so no one's out of work, but we can assume if they don't find a home soon, Warner Discovery will cut their losses and do the same thing to these projects that they did to Batgirl and Scoob. This should be very alarming, as despite just flexing the DC brand as one of their most popular IP, they have no qualms of selling off a Batman show that has a powerhouse team of Bruce Timm, J.J. Abrams, Matt Reeves, and Ad Brubaker. All of that talent in the project is just being cast aside. There's also no word on if these projects will still air on Cartoon Network, but I would imagine not. And while I can see the likes of Batman Caped Crusader finding a new home on Netflix or Hulu, I think projects like the Gumball movie or Looney Tunes The Day the Earth Blew Up are gonna be a bit of a tougher sale, especially when, at this moment, Gumball is on HBO Max. But you know what? I'm sure the HBO Max purge isn't done yet either. Send your best wishes to the people working on these projects, cause it looks like it's gonna be a bumpy road. My heart really goes out to Victor Courtwright because this man's projects keep going through it. First, Thundercats Roar was roasted into oblivion, delayed by like a year, and then grave-slotted when it finally premiered, and then ultimately written off. And then you have Aquaman, King of Atlantis, which also faced some scrutiny, though not on the level of Thundercats Roar, and then is only available on HBO Max for a few months before it got removed. And now we have Driftwood, a chance to show what he can really do with an original property. Canceled mid-production. This shit is not acceptable. And the worst part is, the people working in the industry can't be as straightforward as I'm being right now because they're under NDA. Legally, they cannot come out and say Driftwood got canceled canceled. But because they have gone through so much shit, they're not exactly being subtle anymore. And they shouldn't be. And I just want to take a moment to recognize how manipulative that is from the hire-us perspective. Yeah, sign this NDA so you know, no spoilers or plot details come out. Yeah, you get the picture. Also, if we cancel it, you can't talk about that either. Yeah, no, it's normal. Don't worry about it. That is why I'm grateful to have this platform, because this BS is not gonna fly under the radar anymore. Believe me when I say, the internet at large may be seeing how terrible this all is now, but these mind games, this abuse, it's been happening since the start of the pandemic. Constant false promises and constant disappointments, accelerated by the baffling mess that is the streaming wars. Driftwood deserves better, and any other show that got canceled deserves better. But moving on from one catastrophe to another, we have an update on the whole Infinity Train and other great animated series being taken off the HBO Max fiasco, as Owen Dennis, creator of Infinity Train, has released a newsletter discussing the whole fiasco. A link to the full newsletter will be in the description, but for now, here are the highlights. The announcement on Wednesday of Infinity Train, OKKO, Summer Camp Island, The Fungies, and many other shows being taken off HBO Max was a shock to all of us. Not just to fans, but to the artists and creators that made the shows as well. I had no idea it was coming. Neither did any other show creator I've talked with, nor any other representatives. People have been working behind the scenes for days now, trying to figure out what's going on. But the problem is that the entirety of Warner and Discovery is undergoing a merger. This means that people who you normally would talk to have been fired, moved, or quit. So no one has any idea how to get the information they need right now. This is the same thing that happened in the early months of the merger with AT&T, which, may I remind you guys, was only 2 to 3 years ago. It seems like Cartoon Network just got out of this BS, only to get roped back in again. Never cheer for a corporate merger. They help about 100 people and hurt thousands. Because of all this confusion, I thought I'd share what I know as of today, Saturday, August 20th. So far, everything related to or mentioning Infinity Train has been removed from HBO Max, Cartoon Network, their Twitter accounts, their YouTube accounts, and all music streaming services. Currently, it's still available on iTunes, Amazon Prime, Vudu, Google Play, and YouTube for purchase. I do not know how long it will stay on any of those services. No one does. As of yesterday evening, I was assured by Warner that it would not be taken down from any pay-per-view services. I'm pretty sure that if iTunes is no longer allowed to have the show, they won't take it away after you've already paid for it. However, I don't know for a fact about any of this, much less the other providers. I was also assured late yesterday evening that the show is not being used for that tax write-off loophole that is now so overwhelmingly associated with Batgirl and Scoob Holiday Hunt. Will this continue to be true? I also don't know, but the end date for the tax write-off is the beginning of September, so that will give us a hint. So yeah, Infinity Train, KO, all of those shows I mentioned in our last video haven't officially been confirmed to be tax write-offs, and as far as what Owen's been told, they're not going to be written off anytime soon. However, this is suspicious to me. Not that I think Owen's rep is lying or anything, but that they may have been fed false information. It's clear most of Warner Discovery has no clue what's going on. And after the amount of backlash Batgirl and Scoob got from consumers, I don't think it's too far-fetched to say that if any representatives reached out to Warner Discovery, they would be fed with a little white lie in hopes of that white lie getting back to the masses, and thus keeping them just a little bit at bay. But I will reiterate, removing all the tweets, all the videos, all the music from streaming, that doesn't seem like a temporary thing, or to just save on residuals, which is something Owen goes into later in this article. That just sounds like a tax write-off, and they legally can't use any of those produced seasons anymore. However, with there being a deadline for these write-offs, I do want to retract my doom and gloom statement in my previous video, that the older Cartoon Network shows that haven't made the jump to Max may have also been written off, simply because if the deadline is September for Infinity Train, I imagine it's way too late to write off an older show. However, what's interesting is that Owen also mentions this wasn't supposed to happen until next week, so that Cartoon Network and HBO Max could have time to tell all the show creators and artists what's going on. That's obviously not what happened, and now this is where that disorganization has gotten us. Cartoon Network warned them not to do this, as it would hurt relationships with creators and talent. But they clearly do not care what any of this looks like publicly, much less about how we feel about it. We do know that this was a direct order from Discovery, and it's about saving money money somehow. The general consensus is that it has something to do with paying animators and artists their residuals that they're owed for their work. You will sometimes see an argument online of, well, they already paid the artist to make it, so what are they complaining about? Do not listen to someone who says this, because they either don't understand or don't care about what our pay structure is. Our pay is not complete without the ongoing residuals. Those residuals aren't paid directly to the artist, they actually go to our union pay for our healthcare. So not paying artists residuals on their work means they are indirectly defunding our healthcare. CNBC has estimated that this will likely save Discovery somewhere in the tens of millions of dollars range. A very small drop in the bucket of the $3 billion that David Zaslav said he wants to save by 2023. CNBC also says everything getting pulled from HBO Max was infrequently watched, according to people familiar with the matter. First off, no one is familiar with the matter because the entire industry has been trying to reach people that are familiar with the matter for 3 days and haven't been able to do so. That being said, it's hard to believe that Shock Corridor, Mystery of the Wax Museum, The X from Outer Space, Ice Station Zema, or Captain Blood, while all fantastic movies in their own right, are being frequently watched. So clearly, it's not frequency, therefore, it must be something else. And of course, Owen is right about this. Even if Infinity Train, OKKO, or Summer Camp Island were, in fact, infrequently watched, there are many more titles in HBO Max, especially live-action titles that haven't been removed, because that's part of the appeal of HBO Max. To be a curator of legacy content, to have complete libraries of the many brands Warner Media owns. It just all reeks of garbage and lies. I think the way that Discovery went about this is incredibly rude, unprofessional, and just straight up slimy. I think most everyone who makes anything feels this way. Across the industry, talent is mad, agents are mad, lawyers and managers are mad, even execs at these companies are mad. I can't think of a single person who works in animation and entertainment that, when you bring this all up, doesn't say, what the fuck are they doing? How do they plan to have anyone ever want to work with them again? Again, link to the full newsletter in the description. But I do want to point out that, the Warner Bros. Discovery ad sales account mistakenly retweeted a link to Infinity Train books 1 through 4 and liking a tweet endorsing media piracy. Of course, this was unretweeted and unliked, but as someone who saw both of those things with my own eyes, wow, everyone is fed up. Apparently, Victor and Valentino is also being burnt off of Cartoon Network this week, with the rest of the season, 12 whole episodes, including the series finale, airing every night this week. Afterwards, it'll probably never be seen again. And although they're removed off of HBO Max, for now you can still watch Uncle Grandpa, Mighty Magiswords, and OKKO on Hulu. Now, these shows still being on Hulu is a move that makes sense. Hulu is owned by Disney, which means they are paying Warner Discovery to host these shows on there. However, if they are written off in September, I imagine they might go bye-bye. But again, Symbiotic Titan was on Netflix after that got a tax write-off, so maybe not. Ultimately, guys, I'm just really bummed out, and I will say this has all given me the push I needed to not just finish my animation industry doc, but to get it out as soon as possible. My main obstacle has been the constant string of bad news that has changed the information in the doc throughout these last 5 months. So, taking note from a Twitter suggestion, instead of just being one big doc, I will make it a mini-series. I will be retooling the first 40 minutes of the doc that are finished, and we'll put them out as 1 or 2 episodes sometime this week. And yes, I said 40 minutes that are finished. Told y'all, this is gonna be a long-ass doc. But yeah, guys, take it easy out there. I know if you're an animation fan, this has just been an exhausting year, and in a lot of ways, it still feels like this is oddly only the beginning, as every time it looks like it's getting better, we just get smacked down.